Hi, it's Dr. Proctor out here at the Wolf Den, waiting for everybody to get on so that we can start tonight's broadcast. We had an earlier broadcast at about 6 o'clock till about 6:30, and talked about the rape investigation. We talked about whether or not the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, led by Jason Chenault, my former student, if they would take this investigation seriously, if they would investigate at the high school to see if there are any victims, specifically if there are any female victims, if there are any teacher victims that have been raped in the since Jake's been there. Um, he didn't pick me because of me. He picked me because he saw an opportunity. It was classic criminology known as routine activities theory. And it's that we are the victims of the people that we are closest in geographic distance to. We are victimized by the people that we are most likely to come into contact with, and we are victimized in places where other people are likely to be victimized. And all of this sounds like kind of duh, but the theory goes on to say that these three things have to come together in time and place. And if they come together in time and place at the right time, it explains victimization, specifically violent victimization. So let's talk about violent victimization tonight. And we'll wrap up talking about Sean Great, who is a serial killer out of Ohio. If you are not following me on Facebook, please check me out. You can find me under Dr. Amy Proctor. You can find me under Amy Proctor. And you can find me under hashtag the Great White Redheaded Buffalo, because I am here back on the reservation, Cherokee Nation Reservation in Park Hill, Oklahoma. I've been a criminal justice faculty at the local Northeastern State University, the oldest university west of the Mississippi. It was originally the Cherokee Female Seminary, and that's what I think it should be again. I believe that the treaties should be honored, and Cherokees were guaranteed access to education as part of the removal when they walked the trail. That was the deal. Judge Gorsuch said so much in the recent decision. He said at the end of the trail was a promise, and that promise was land, was sovereignty, was no more killing, no more shooting their babies, no more. And a promise of things like mills and ironworks and educational facilities. And the Yone, or the white capitalistic patriarchy, did not build those structures, those institutions. The Cherokee people did. This is where you have to learn your history. This is the history they don't teach you in school. You have to come back to your reservation, I did, to learn it. So, violent victimization. We're having a problem with an increase in crime here in the Cherokee Nation Reservation due to homelessness. And I don't know where everybody's from. I know that homelessness is not just a problem in Cherokee County, Oklahoma. I've seen it on other reservations all the time. I've seen it in California. I've seen it in Boston. I've seen it all over. Florida, Jesus Christ. Half them people, I don't even think they have houses. I think they live like in the swamps. Like in the swamps, not like in houses in the swamps. Those are the toughest people, shit. But not as tough as Sean Great. And we're going to talk about him later on. If you have not heard of him, he is a serial killer who killed women in Ohio. He's interesting to me because he doesn't follow a pattern like other serial killers who find one way to kill and they stick with it. If they like to strangle, they like to strangle. That's what gets them off. If they are doing it for money, it's a quick getaway. It's a clean shot. They don't care. if it's, spurned lover, it's stabbing, it's poisoning. For Sean Great, it was all about power. It was all about control. And we're going to look at the different types of serial rapists because there is a typology out there. I'm not going to say how good it is. I'm going to tell you, I taught my students for the 17 years that I taught at Northeastern State University. I taught them about this typology because there is something to it. Now, does it have variables or does it have concepts that we can measure, that we can actually measurable, something tangible to say we can see that or we can observe it? It is an experiential type of evidence that we have to verify whether or not this typology is actually a good typology, that it holds water, that it's not just some bullshit that John Douglas and Robert Ressler, who claim to have started the BSU for the FBI, made up with their bullshit. Because that was not scientific, okay? That was male egos going in to try to battle demons and other male egos. So, once again, the problem is white men who are toxic, who have small penises and huge fucking egos. Step aside. Step the fuck aside. It's time for women to be in charge. We've let y'all do this long enough. It's time to return to a matrilineal society. It's time to return to a clan society. It is time to go back to our native roots, our native values, and value everybody and not just the individual. That's the native way. The native way is we have to take care of the tribe, because if we don't take care of each other, then we as individuals will not survive. And that is where we are at now in America. That is where we are now globally. And we're here on the brink of yet another, and we've said this before, but never has it been a war in the Middle East, war with Russia, China taking over, and we have a dumb motherfucking 91 times overcharged clown who is our Republican presidential candidate. And we've got the Tales from the Crypt dude for the Democrats. And I am a registered Democrat because the Democratic values are closer to what I value, not because I am a huge Biden fan. We're here again with the lesser of two evils. This is why on one of my posts the other day, I put hashtag, I'm going to say her name wrong, Kamala 2024. He gonna wake up dead. And I can't believe Trump hadn't had a massive heart attack carrying this shit around in his diaper, eating McDonald's and KFC and Taco Bell and downing Cokes and popping Adderall. Not to mention all the carcinogenic shit he puts all over his fucking face, and you're starting to see his hair clips, and God, we are a laughing stock. We are a laughing stock. And we have a problem with violent victimization against our women. And we're going to talk about that. So I'm going to end now. I'm going to give myself a break, give my voice a break. But we'll be back in 5 minutes. Hi, it's Dr. Proctor back here on the Cherokee Reservation in Park Hill, Oklahoma. Yes, I am a criminologist. I have been for 25 years, 17 of those years here at Northeastern State University, where I spent 12 years doing field research out in Indian country with 20, 30 different tribes. 5 years of that was doing field research, qualitative research regarding meth in Indian country. How's it getting in to the reservation? And I can tell you that right now it is through the casinos. 70% of all of the fentanyl, meth, black tar, heroin, all of that, it's coming through the casinos, as is the prostitution, as is the money laundering, yada, yada, yada. So is the money for education. So is the money for a hospital. So is the money for our elders. So is the money for our tourism. So is the money for all of it. So it is, or is it a necessary evil? I don't know. The tribes have been against medical marijuana and have said that they'll never be in the marijuana business. And the chiefs of the Cherokee Nation have said that. But I wonder if they would have gotten to the medical marijuana business or the solar panel business rather than the casino business if we would have the problems that we have on the reservation. Now, you'd think that that would be a tribal decision, but it's not, because everything the tribe does has to be approved by the federal government. Let me restate that. Everything the tribe does has to be approved by the federal government. We are not our own people. We are basically wards. No, we are wards of the federal government. We have been deemed as not being able enough to make decisions for ourselves, to care for ourselves. We're just a bunch of dumb Indians. And therefore, we cannot run our own governments. The federal government has to okay our constitutions. They have to okay our laws. They have to approve of how we determine our membership or our citizenship in our tribes. That's a bunch of bullshit. But that's where we are. Still, that's where we still are after all these years. That's where we are. That's why McGirt was such a huge decision. If you don't know what McGirt is, it is the decision handed down by the U.S. Supreme Court that said that the Creek Reservation was never disestablished, and therefore it was reestablished. And the decision was with another case that reestablished the Cherokee Nation. So it's had a domino effect. If it applies to these nations, then it applies to these other nations. Sorry, I was getting a restricted warning or something. I'm not sure. So law enforcement is a bit sketchy, to say the least, in Indian country. I think that the Cherokee Nation marshals are doing the best they can with what they have. When I was in Indian country for 5 years doing my research on meth in Indian country, and if you want to read about that research, all you have to do is get out your Googler and Google perceptions of meth in Indian country. It is a Department of Justice, community-oriented policing publication. It was written by myself and my assistant, Candace McCullum, without whom none of this would be possible. I'm surprised she did not kill me and dump my body in Indian country while we were out there, because I was stressed to the gills. I was supposed to be writing a dissertation, but I was doing a grant for free for the Cherokee Nation marshals so they didn't lose all of their federal funding and never be eligible for a federal grant again if they didn't fulfill the $200,000 grant that I ended up doing for free. I learned so much from that. And that has taught me that You don't have to pay or get a lot of money to get a good education and to gain experience and knowledge just when you put your head down and work. And I hate to say that because of the way that women are always treated and always told that they just need to buck up, put their big girl panties on and deal with it. I'm talking about a work ethic. I'm talking about I see more women with work ethic than I see men with work ethic. I see a good old boy system at work, and I see the good old boy system building on the backs of women. And they put the child care all on us. They put the house on all of us. And I used to have my students sit there and say, not my husband, not my boyfriend. He helps. No, he shouldn't be helping. He should be doing it. He's not helping you. He's doing it because that's what he's supposed to do. And yeah, we're at the house more likely longer times with the kids because men get paid more. Isn't that convenient? But yet they don't get the same time off as we get to enjoy their children, to bond with their boys. Could that be the problem? Could that be an explanation for the violence that we have, for the rage that men have against women? That comes out in the form of violence against them? Violence in the form of rape? Yeah. Because violence does not have one single explanatory factor. There's not one basic variable. It is so complex. We've found one solution for it, basically. And we'll see if anybody that's taken my classes who's watching right now can tell me what that is while I take a drink. If I had Jeopardy music to play, I'd play it. All right. Who came up with incapacitation or incarceration? That's right. That's what we do to folks. We give them a slap on the wrist the first time so we can get them through the system and we can say that we did something. And, oh, wait a minute. No. We put them through the system to fund the system. We know that from Ferguson, Missouri. We know that from Tallahassee, Texas. We know that from all of the small towns that you go through that they have speed traps. They are usually in the poorest parts. They're usually close to drug corridors. Looking at you, Holbert. And they have these ridiculous speed limits that go from, 65 to 35 to 45 to 25 to 72. And this is on purpose. It's on purpose. And tonight's not the night, but we are absolutely going to be talking about asset forfeiture. By God, I am so against that bullshit. But tonight we're talking about violent victimization. Tonight we're talking about serial rapist. Tonight we're talking about rape on the res. We're going to talk about my rape that just happened Christmas 2023. My rapist still has not been arrested. He is the grandson of the longest serving sheriff of Cherokee County, Oklahoma. His grandfather is also, same man, the longest serving chief of police of Tahlequah. His protege, his boy, I'd call him a bitch, but that's too good of a word for him. I'm a bitch. I'm Wolf Clan. So it don't hurt me to be called a bitch. That's a compliment. So don't come around my fire if you don't like being called a bitch. And that goes for my mama. I'm just kidding, mama. I love you. She's the head bitch in charge when she gets here on Tuesday. I'm giving her a shout out because she didn't ask me. She didn't tell me before she did it, but she started a GoFundMe for me. You don't understand, or maybe you probably do, because maybe you've been screwed over by NSU. Maybe you've been cheated by the cops. Maybe you have been thrown in jail illegally. Maybe you're a person of color who knows exactly what the hell I'm talking about. The fear that you have when you are arrested by a SWAT team, when you're lured out of your house by a little old man holding keys telling you that he hit your Lexus to falsely arrest you, tell you that it's for a felony, for threatening bodily harm with a deadly weapon. I was sitting in my fucking lounger, you motherfuckers. So we're going to talk about corrupt law enforcement, how they facilitate crimes against women, how they treat Native Americans in this godforsaken place, how they treat educated Native Americans, how they treat the only female Native American PhD ever to be hired by the Department of Criminal Justice at Northeastern State University, who took over from the Cherokee Female Seminary. These are the oldest institutions west of the Mississippi, except for my alma mater. Shout out Bearcats. Sam Houston State University College of Criminal Justice is where I got my doctorate. And it is one of the best, if not the best, universities, best, absolutely the best college of criminal justice. Yeah, I said it, John Jay College of Criminal Justice in New York City. Yeah, I said it to all the others. They've been accused of being a diploma mill. God forbid we get educated people that have a passion and a motivation to succeed at a PhD level. God forbid we get more of those out there. We're being replaced by AI. That's a fact. That's why I got out of academia. That's why I can act a goddamn fool. That's why they're not going to run me out of here. I'm here for the long run. I'm here for the fight. I'm not going anywhere, and I've told them that. And if you don't believe me, you can check out all of my videos on Facebook, on Insta, on Threads, on... Oh, yeah, the most important. Well, not the most important. I mean, TikTok Live is the shit these days. But there used to be this thing called YouTube. And I've got a channel on YouTube. And it's very easy to find. It's just at Dr. Amy Proctor. So go find me. Subscribe. Watch some of my... I'm not going to even paint it pretty crazy clips on there sometimes because I've been traumatized. And I was traumatized when I was raped on my reservation, Christmas of 2023. My rapist has not been arrested. Jason Chenault, I'm calling you out. You've known who he was since I reported it. Your office, the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office, told me his last name was Fisher. I showed you in the text. I showed all of Facebook land in the text. He told me his name was Jake. Jake plus Fisher. Why didn't you go question him? Why did you let him stay employed as a baseball coach at the local high school? Why did you put women and girls, our babies, our daughters, our granddaughters, our nieces in harm's way? Do we mean so little to you? I know I do, but does every woman? So that's what we're talking about tonight. Is violent victimization on the res, the men that let it happen, the corrupt law enforcement that colluded to throw me in jail for 20 hours and deny me medical treatment. Thank God I was blessed and cursed with ADHD, OCD, and who knows what else. PTSD for goddamn sure. Because I hyper focus when I feel like I'm under attack. It's part of the fight or flight thing. Mine is hyper focus so I survive. The bad part is I've got a bad heart. I've got bad lungs. If I want to breathe, it raises my heart, which is bad for my heart. If I'm under stress, it's bad for my heart because I get stress-induced cardiomyopathy. The bad part is I had a stroke in 2022. I had a TIA, a mini stroke, they call them. And it causes me to have aphasia and paraphasia. So aphasia is where I lose my words, which I know you can't believe that because I've been yammering on, but thank God for Big Pharma every once in a while and for the nature. First and foremost, nature. Thank you for the medicine, Mother Earth. That's what I'm grateful for. I always say I start these out with being grateful. So since we're getting to a middle portion here and I have to start a fire, I'm getting kind of cold. We'll say this. We'll end here with what I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for weed being legal in the state of Oklahoma, but it's illegal on the reservation. So I guess the marshals could be pulling up on me at any moment to take me into custody like they did last time for the equivalency of a traffic ticket. And folks, all of this can be verified. I don't lie. In addition to teaching sex crimes, in addition to teaching victimology, in addition to teaching race, ethnicity, and crime, in addition to teaching gender and crime, I taught a lot of other classes that taught a lot of really smart people, a lot of really good information. Thank God they didn't throw me off this res. Thank God I didn't get killed in jail by the girls who thought I was 60 days in. Thank God I didn't die from a heart attack in there when they refused me medical treatment for 20 fucking hours. I filed a written complaint with the Cherokee Nation Marshal Service against Lieutenant Mike Reese for several things, but most importantly, for his continued denial to take me to the Cherokee Nation, to the emergency room, the Cherokee Nation Hastings Hospital. We'll talk about that later because I need a minute. And this is my story, so I have to go at my pace. So I'm not sure what time it is. We're going to pause for 5 minutes. If I need longer than that, I'll come back on and let you know how long I need, or maybe we'll just suspend our broadcast until I can get a fire lit, or I can get back inside my cabin and we can get around my wood burning fireplace, because it's getting dark, as you can see, and I got to get a fire going on. Fire is sacred. Remember that. The smoke lifts the knowledge. Knowledge is my medicine. Thank you for joining me this far. I hope that you'll stick with me a little while longer. I hope that you'll stick with me a little while longer.